Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're walking with Mr. Clay. I'm Mr. Clay. We're in the book of Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 52. And we thank the Most High for those of you who have been with us since the beginning, those of you who have been with us here and there's about, and those of you who have just subscribed. Yes, and those of you who are contemplating subscription. Yes, like, share, and subscribe. We thank the Most High for you. Yes, and all things are very, very good and on schedule with the I Am. Yes, it is. The I Am is going to execute judgment in the earth, even as it is executed today. The enemies of Judah are being ran out of their land. The enemies of Israel are being subdued. And the Most High will have accomplished the plan that has been since the beginning. And it's best for us to look up. According to the book of Daniel, the book of Daniel is the best book to look toward if you're trying to look for redemption. When the God that the book of Enoch talks about, that he cometh with 10,000s of his anointed. Yes. Versus you got the Revelation come with 10,000s of this demigod is coming with 10,000. It's not going to happen. Put it to you plain, it's not going to happen. I know some of you are far gone. This has been since you were a child. That's your religion. Okay. But for those of you who are seeking to say there's more, there's really not more. There's the truth about the whole matter. And everything else beside that truth is simply an invention of spirits and men. Isaiah chapter 52. In chapter 51, the Most High says, look unto Abram. Yes, look unto Abram. Look unto Abram not as a god or a demigod. But then they go and say, look unto your Isus or your Yahusha or your Husha. However you change the name to be out of English or whatever. But nevertheless, look unto Abram, he says. In other words, take the example of Abram and how Abram obeyed and understood and walked away from anything that resembled idolatry. Yes, Isaiah 52 and verse 1, awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion. Put on thy beautiful garments, O Yeshurun, O Jerusalem, the holy city. For henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean. In other words, those that are not practicing the law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances of the Most High. Yes, but yet they have their hearts toward the Most High, not just going through the numbers or the letters, because no one can keep any law by the letter. It's just the fact of pleasing those that are around you who are probably disobeying the laws even in your own state, city, country, or whatever at the same time. He says, shake yourself from the dust, arise, and sit down, O Yeshurun, O Jerusalem. Loose thyself from the bands of thy neck, O captive daughter of Zion. For thus saith the I Am, ye have sold yourselves for nothing or naught, and ye shall be redeemed without money. In other words, I'm going to do it. I ain't going to take no money from me. See, you get in Deuteronomy chapter 28. No man shall buy you. But look what God says here. He says, and ye shall be redeemed without money. So the Most High promised this to the time for the Israelites to come back into the land by his permission. For thus saith the I Am, that I am God. My people went down aforetime into Egypt to sojourn there, because the Most High told them to go there. And the Assyrian oppressed them without cause. Have you ever had an enemy just because they just jealous, or they just envious, or because they're just desireful of what you have, or what they want to be, and they just oppress you? They come up with any and everything to try to oppress you. Yes, they do. Even your own neighbors would try to do such a thing as that. Would try to oppress you because you're just being to yourself and you're just being and serving your own God, walking by not their drum, but by the drum that the Most High has planned for you. This happens throughout the world. Now, therefore, what I have here, saith the I am, that my people is taken away for nothing. They that rule over them make them to howl. Yeah, the Assyrians, yes, saith the I am, and my name continually every day is blasphemed. Yes, it is. You look all over the internet, people blaspheme the name of the I am. They say, where is the I am? Who is the I am? Why you follow this I am? We're not talking about your Jesus or your Yeshua or your Yahushua or whatever. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They call him a sky daddy. They blaspheme his name. Yes, they do. Therefore my people shall know my name. Therefore they shall know it in that day. I am he that doth speak. Behold, it is I. I am that I am. I am the one that does speak. Behold, it is I. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bringeth good tidings, that publisheth peace. We want to follow after peace. But the fact is, with the wicked there is no peace, and they will bring their unpeaceful selves toward you as they did with Israel. And therefore, the Most High says, gird up your loins. That bring good tidings of good and publish salvation. In other words, we're going to be saved. What is Israel saved from? The Assyrian captivity, the Babylonian captivity, and the Persian captivity. This is whom God is going to use, the Persians, to deliver, should I say, the children of Jacob back to their land, specifically Judah. He says the watchman, or the seer, the prophet, shall lift up the voice, and with the voice together shall they sing, for they shall see eye to eye when the I am shall bring again Zion. Yes, the Most High shall bring again Zion, scattered, gathered in Babylon, gathered in Persia, gathered over there in Assyria, scattered, even though most of those lands have been subdued at just before the deliverance has happened. He says, all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God. Depart ye, verse 11. Go ye out from thence, touch no unclean thing. Go ye out from the midst of her. Be ye clean and bear the vessels of the I am. He's saying, obey the law. Obey the law means the law has those things where we do not touch any unclean thing. And it still stands. Menstruous woman should not be in the bed with her husband. No, she should not be. She should be in a separate room somewhere. That's the way it is. And they used to have a house of menstruation where the women go. It was an unclean place, but that's where they would go and complete the days of their menstruation. And when their menstruation is done, and according to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, then it's over with. Yes, some women will think that is so harsh. I cannot sleep in the same bed with my husband. But it was the way of life then. See, one thing about the law of the Most High, to get back to it the way it was, is we have to begin to go through some painful transitions. I mean, painful transitions, even to the point of unaliving an adulterer or a murderer. You might not see it by the mentality that you have been programmed to say, but the laws of the Most High are absolute. They're just it. That's it. That's all you can say. It may seem harsh, but the fact is the Most High gave us a reason. And I want you to go back and see what the reason of the Most High is for putting these people out of their misery, or out of the land, or out of even their existence. Yes. He says we were in verse 11. He says, now, break forth into joy together, ye waste places of Yasharah, for the I am comforted his people. He hath redeemed Jerusalem. In other words, they were taught by their parents to admonish the law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances, that which they knew, because none of them had the books, nor the reading of the law was before them weekly or daily, however they went before the priest to hear the law. Nobody gave their opinion. They just gave the law. And the fathers would go back and teach when they were taught of the Levites, to teach them or give them what would happen to them if they would break the law and what the law says. And some of them would actually write down what they heard. But there is a book of the law. They did have writing back then. It just was not word of mouth. Don't let the Hamites fool you. They say their gods and their religion was word of mouth. No, the Most High had them to write. And each book in this, what we call the Bible, was written by one person or a scribe. It was that way. And some of you have gotten so blinded and messed up. Oh, it was written by many men. No, there were books that was written by one man. Isaiah there was a scribe with him, or he wrote it himself. One man. Moses was told to write. One man. Whether he had a scribe or whatever, one man. Moses was told to write. Now that is the book of Enoch, the book of Jasher, the book of Jubilees, the book of Genesis, and the 5 books, historical books of the law. One man. Now, I don't know where they get off on this, but it's just all bind in one binding. That's all it is. You want us to just take all these books? It's just convenient that the Most High have dealt and took the heathen by his nose and made him combine these books, regardless of what he did. But he gave us breadcrumbs to get back to what the old landmark. Yes. He says in verse 10, the I am have made bare his holy arm in the eyes of all nations. In other words, they see the workings of the Most High. And all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God. They see it. When King Cyrus, or Xerxes, however you would say, gave the decree that the Israelites should go back to their land. That was it. The protection that the Most High gave them was he put this in the heart of King Cyrus to protect them as they went back to their land. Yes. Even though they made opposition when they went back to the land. But the Most High kept them. And they were ready when the Most High knew they were ready. And if you want to hear more about that, just go back to the books of, should I say, Nehemiah, Ezra, and those books, Esther. Yes, all those books. Go back to see what culminated during that time. This is what Isaiah is talking about. Now, we're going to get into a part here where he's going to talk about, it looks like it's just an insertion, because we know that the Most High is just talking about the coming deliverance that has happened. When the other deliverances we shall show you, we shall get to them and point them out as we walk together in this thing. For ye shall not go without haste, nor by flight, for the I am will go before you, and the God of Israel will be your reward. What was their reward? Read the book of Ezra, Nehemiah, and see what happened when they read the law. How they wept and they joyed and they kept the Passover. They couldn't keep the Passover for hundreds of years or for 70 years or so. No, they could not keep it. But then there was a time they said, oh, we can keep the Passover. The Passover is hope. That one day the Most High would come and deliver the children of Jacob and those that would join themselves to them, to pass over out of the harm of these heathen, whom are led by the sway of evil spirits, even as Abraham in his prayer said. Now, that will be found in the book of Jubilees, chapter 12 and verse 20. Now, he says, depart ye, go out from this, touch no unclean thing. Go ye out in the midst of her, be ye clean. Bear the vessels of the I am, for ye shall not go out with haste, nor by flight, for the I am will go before you. As I said before, the Most High doesn't walk behind you nor beside you. This is wives' tales. The Most High goes before you. The Most High prepares the way. The Most High is your defense, if you would keep that which the Most High have charged you to keep, that your ancestors have agreed to, even the covenant. There is no other covenant. There's only one covenant. If there is another covenant that hasn't been made yet, that covenant is a lie. He says, now, God's going to go before you. Now, in verse, 15, 13, oh yes. He says, behold, my servant shall deal prudently. He shall be exalted and extolled to be and be very high. So this is the height of a king. Who is he talking about? It doesn't give no name here. And many shall be astonished or astonished at thee. His visage was so marred more than any man, and his form more than the sons of men. So the fact is that this servant was one whose clothing was marred. They were tattered. In other words, he didn't have no, it could have been a prophet. Oh, you say, oh, that was Jesus. No, that's what they tell you that it is. You have to realize the narrative goes toward Persia. The deliverance of Israel was during the Persian Empire. These prophecies came to pass. Or this particular one. Then the other one, Jeremiah, all the rest of them, we shall see as we go. He says now, his visage was so marred. We're going to come back to that. So shall he sprinkle many nations. With what? His blood? That is not God's way. The king shall shut their mouths at him. There were no kings shutting their mouths at no Jesus or no Yahushua or Yahusha. For that which has not been told them they shall see. That which they had not heard they shall they consider. Oh, you talking about the time when King Hero said, y'all persuaded me to be a Christian? He was making mockery of it. That's what he was doing. And then you got, I always say, those who are of the 27 books, always making up things. And then you got those who call themselves getting into Israel, the Israelite teachings and doctrines of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They take bits and pieces to prove their point. And some of them are just plain old bitter. But the Most High allows anyone to come that would join himself to Israel in obedience to the statutes, ordinances, and laws of the Most High. He says, you will not, be as you were treated in Israel. You will not treat the stranger that way. No way. You can't do that. I do not allow this. But one law for everyone. So you in the United States, you're not going to find that too many times. In other countries, even in Africa, you come from United States into Africa, the laws are different for you than it is for them. Less than what it is in the countries that predominantly, should I say, ruled by Europeans or Caucasians, however you want to put it. Or they classify themselves as a white. But the fact is that one law is what the Most High says. In other words, if you be an adulterer, whether you white, dark, or black, brown, whatever you want to call your color, you will be deleted. If you're a murderer, you'll be deleted. Ain't no negotiations with no. See, this is where the sin lies. The governments that's supposed to fall under the Most High are not doing that. Now this servant, whose visage was so marred more than any man, and his form more than the sons of men. That doesn't really hold no water, because it can be any man. That any man of that time, should I say, his visage was so marred about any. No, he's talking about somebody. And the scripture is going to talk about it for itself. But let's do this thing. If we do that which is right before the Most High, in keeping the law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances according to the covenant made with the children of Jacob, we will have peace.